Right, and we're gonna go live. And we are live. Welcome everyone. Today I have a special guest with us, Karishma. She is from PriceLab. And PriceLabs is the revenue management solution for the short-term rentals and hospitality industry. It was founded in 2014, wow, almost 11 years now, and at headquarters in Chicago. PriceLabs platform helps individual host and hospitality professional optimize pricing and revenue management, adapting to changing market trends and occupancy levels. With dynamic pricing, automation rules, and customization, PriceLabs manages pricing and minimum stay restrictions for any portfolio size. PriceLabs are automatically uploaded to the preferred channels such as Airbnb, VRBO, and over 150 property management and channels integrations. Every day, PriceLabs prices over 500,000 listing globally across 150 countries, 100 plus countries, offering world-class tools like base price help and minimum stay recommendation engine. Karishma, welcome to the Facebook Live. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I met you at MTR. It was nice meeting you and your friend,
Shrija.
Shrija.
Yes,
Yes, also. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Please introduce yourself, how you got involved this Price Lab, and your story.
absolutely. Hello, everyone. I am Karishma from PriceLabs, and I am working as the program operations manager here and currently heading the customer education program. So, all the trainings, knowledge based articles, webinars, master classes, anything that you see, we're trying very hard to make sure all of you understand PriceLabs very easily. Been with PriceLabs for over 5 years now. Been the most amazing journey. Sort of started my career here and love everything about PriceLabs, and especially the product, which is basically helping you all dynamically price your properties and make sure you're making the most out of your rental. So that's about it.
Okay, let's see. Thank you for your introduction. Let's dive in. First question. Price Labs are widely recognized for its expertise in short term rentals. For existing users or someone familiar with STRs but new to MTRs, what can they do to effectively set up their property for mid-term rentals in Price Labs?
Yes, that's a good question. So, to begin with, there are 5 steps that anyone, when they sign up for their PriceLabs account, need to do to make sure they get the best out of PriceLabs. The first step is obviously to add your listings. If you're existing users, you already have your listings inside of PriceLabs. But if you are going to try PriceLabs out, the first step is to add your listing from the right platform. If you use a property management system, do go through the list of PMSs that we connect with because it's best to connect PriceLabs with your PMS. If you do not use a PMS, we also directly connect with Airbnb and VRBO, so you can directly connect with those two platforms as well. Now, once you've added your listings and your listings are within PriceLabs, come the two most important steps to get your listings right. The first one is setting your base price. Now, setting base price for midterm rentals is slightly different from setting base price for short-term rentals because short-term rentals operate more on the daily rate that they want. So the base price expectation is what they'd expect from their property on an average throughout the year. Whereas for midterm rentals, what generally happens is you have an expectation of how much monthly or bi-monthly income you want. So the base price calculation generally roughly is, let's say I want $2,400 on an average for a month. So that's
Mhm.
around 2,400 by 30, $80 a night, right? So that's where your base price should be around, rather than like going through the daily fluctuations. And again, the minimum price for short term rentals is the minimum that they're okay to accept every single night. But for midterm rentals, you might have a monthly minimum or a bi-monthly minimum that, hey, for my property on an average I cannot rent below, let's say, 1800 a month or 1500 a month. Again, divide that by 30 and then you have your minimum as well. So the base price and the minimum price that you plug into PriceLabs is what will anchor all the daily prices that PriceLabs recommends for your listing. So please make sure those two settings are really on point. And the next and the most important one is your minimum stay requirement. So for midterm rentals, again, the minimum stays are much longer. You might want 30 night stays, 45 night stays, 60 night stays, whereas for short term rentals, it's very dynamic. You might want like 1 or 2 night stays to fill up days that are not getting booked, versus for like far out stays, you can expect 5, 6, 7 night stays also. So the range is broader than what a midterm rental would want. But the good news is PriceLabs has an auto min stay recommendation engine that we've recently released. So you don't have to shoot in the dark and think of, hey, what would be the best minimum stay for my listing? All you have to do is go into your PriceLabs account and click on the minimum stay icon, and PriceLabs will automatically recommend the best minimum stay for your listing. Now, that's based on the market, the neighborhood that your listing is in, what are the trends, what works well, what doesn't work well. And you can see all the recommendations that will suit and that will work best for your listing. So, these are the main steps that you need to take to set up your midterm rental in PriceLabs.
Okay, understood. So you mentioned base price and minimum price. What about maximum price? Do I need to set up maximum price, or it's the sky is the limit?
So it's very subjective. Actually, we do have the option to enter maximum price, and if you want to put an upper cap to the prices that you have, you can very well do so. Now, what you can do is after you set your base price and your minimum price, just take a quick look at your calendar. Do the prices look okay? Because what PriceLabs does is it will increase your rates for high season, it will decrease your rate for low season. Now, especially for the days when we are increasing the rates, take a look at those rates and see if they make sense to you. Because a
Mm,
lot of times, for a lot of property managers, the reason that they set a maximum price is because they know that, hey, for the property that I'm offering, this is the upper limit. If I charge more than this, my customers are not going to get value for money. And that may affect the reviews, that may affect the guest expectations, and they don't want to take chance on that. So they put a maximum price to sort of cap that and make sure that everybody gets value for money. So if you think that the prices for your listing at some point are not capturing that value and maybe are unrealistic for what you're willing to offer, you can put a maximum price and put a cap on your prices.
understood.
Yeah.
And okay, and the maximum price is per night or per the month, like a midterm rental, like 30 days stay.
It's per night, but again, the calculation remains the same that, hey, I know for my property, charging anything above 6,000 a month doesn't make sense. Again, you divide that by 30 and that becomes your
Understood.
maximum price. Yeah.
Okay, so can you please elaborate on how PriceLab's minimum stay rules help maximize revenue?
Yes. Do you mind if I quickly share my screen and
Yes,
show you
please.
how it works?
Please go ahead.
Are you able to see my screen?
It's loading. Okay, let's see. Okay, we can see your screen now. Go ahead, please.
Awesome. So these are just some demo properties that we have. So the numbers that you see are all demo numbers. Don't go on them. Now I clicked on reviews, and this is how my calendar like today. To go to minimum stay settings, just click on edit here and then stay restrictions here. Now, once you go on stay, this will be ideally turned off for you. But once you turn it on, this is the screen that you see.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, Here you'll see the help me choose minimum stays option. Now there are two options you can select here: prefer short term or prefer midterm. You can go with prefer midterm and go. Now what this does is it shows a bunch of layers. The default is the default minimum stay that applies to throughout your calendar unless any of these options kick in. And you'll see there are three layers in which we use minimum stay settings. There's last minute, there's far out, and then there's orphan gaps. What happens is, for bookings that come really far in advance, you might expect slightly higher minimum stays. So let's say if your default is 30 nights, but because the booking is coming really far out, you're okay with taking 60 night or maybe 90 night minimums. You can put in that rule that, hey, 3 months out or 4 months out, if I'm getting a booking, I want it to be longer. I want it to be at least 90 nights. But if it comes within that 3 or 4 month booking window, then I want it to drop to 30 nights.
Mm-hmm.
And if it comes within 30 days and I'm still not getting booked, and if I'm okay with taking, let's say, 14 night bookings or 7 night bookings, my last minute option kicks in. So you can layer your minimum stays to optimize the availability in your calendar, because you don't want those smaller bookings too far out to block the opportunity for longer bookings. But if you're not getting those longer bookings in advance, and as the date comes closer, you can drop the minimum stay and still capture whatever demand is left in the market.
Understood. And how many layers can I have?
You can have as many layers as you want. So right now, what you can do is click on apply and customize. And when you try to customize, you can just add the number of layers that you want. So some people really granularly get into this by saying that, hey, if it's 3 months in advance, I want 60 nights. But if it drops to, let's say, 2 months, I want 45 nights. If it drops to 1 month, I want 30 nights. So you can
Mm,
get into as many layers as you want, depending on where your market is at and what your expectations are with your listing.
understood.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the next question then. Let's see. MTR are often booked further in advance, and this is what you just described, right? How
Yes.
does PriceLabs far out premium feature factor into MTR pricing strategy? And what is the recommended approach for MTR owners to manage it effectively?
Right. So by default, how the PriceLabs algorithm works is it applies a far out premium to all the prices on your calendar, because we want to optimize your revenue, and we also want to make sure that if a booking is coming that far out in advance, we do not leave money on the table, right? So
Mhm.
by default, we apply a market driven far out premium. But for midterm rentals, you might not want that level of premium to apply for your listing, because midterm bookings typically are well made in advance of check-in. So what you can do is either disable these far out premium feature, or you can probably tone it down to not apply a premium as much as Price Labs is applying. So you can basically, this is the power of Price Labs. There's a bunch of customizations that apply by default, but you can choose and customize all these customizations to what suits for your listing. So generally, what we see midterm rentals do is probably tone the far out premium down or disable it to make sure their higher rates are not discouraging bookings from coming in.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let me look at the channels. No comments yet. So we almost 15 minutes into this amazing journey. Thank you so much. Let's talk about monthly discounts.
Mhm.
As you may know, monthly discounts are common in MTR. How does PriceLabs enables owners to strategically apply and adjust these monthly discounts?
Right. So if you are using monthly discounts for your property, there are two things here to consider. One is we support setting up monthly discounts within Price Labs for a few select PMSs. And if PMSs allow us to push monthly discounts to them, you can set it within Price Labs. So step one is to check whether this feature is available to use for your PMS. If it is, then you can set these monthly discounts within Price Labs. If not, what is important to remember is, once prices are pushed out of Price Labs, any settings that you have in your PMS or in Airbnb will apply on top of the rates sent out by Price Labs. So if you are pushing out a 2400 per month out of Price Labs and you have a 10% monthly discount on Airbnb, that will apply on top of what Price Labs is sending out. So you have to be very careful if you're applying discounts outside. Make sure that the prices in Price Labs are calibrated to handle that discount. Because a lot of times you set a minimum within PriceLabs, but after that external discount applies, your prices might go below the minimum. But that minimum is limited to PriceLabs. So that's the trade-off that we make sure that you take into account.
So if you're gonna apply monthly discounts, do I need to also update a minimum price on PriceLab to accommodate for the discount?
Uh, that's the thing. If you're applying it within PriceLabs, it's a different story. But if you're applying it
Mm,
outside of PriceLabs, so let's say you set a minimum of 2000 per month in PriceLabs. What that means is PriceLabs will never push your prices below 2000 outside to Airbnb. But once we've pushed those prices, and if your discount applies on 2000, it will go below 2000. But that's not under PriceLabs control because the PriceLabs minimum is limited to prices that we push out.
okay.
After that, any discounts that apply will apply on top of what we push out
So it's better to do all the settings in
in
PriceLab
PriceLabs.
rather
Correct.
than, okay,
Correct.
I
But if your
understand now.
PMS doesn't support monthly discounts in PriceLabs, what you can do is maybe increase your prices by 10% in PriceLabs. So the higher prices are pushed out, and after discount, they come back to what you want. Because a lot of times people apply monthly or weekly discounts in Airbnb to boost their bookings, to boost their rankings, and stuff like that. So if you know that 2000 is the absolute minimum, that you can take for a booking, even after discount, set your PriceLabs minimum to be higher so
Mhm.
that we don't push out lower prices. And even if discounts apply, they don't go below your absolute minimum.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Understood. Next question. Many hosts might consider switching between a midterm and short-term rental strategy based on the market condition or personal goals. How can a host flexibly switch or manage both strategies for the same property directly within PriceLab?
That's a very good question, and that's exactly where the
I
power of
know we were
customization.
preparing for those questions, right?
That's exactly where the power of customizations comes in within PriceLabs. So a lot of times we've seen hosts what they do is if it's the high season for their listing, they turn their rental into a short-term rental, and when it's like really slow season, they take mid-term rental bookings. So there are two things here. One is obviously your minimum stay settings. Now we have something called custom seasonal profiles where you can set up minimum stays based on season. So let's say for August to December, if it's my low season and that's where my rental is a midterm rental, I will set up those 30 night minimums or more than 30 night minimums. Whereas from Jan to August, if it's a short term rental, I can set a completely different minimum stay profile where I'm okay to take 2 or 3 or 5 night bookings. Again, you don't have to think about this. You don't have to shoot in the dark. We have our auto minimum stay recommendation. And what that does is it will automatically tell you what works best for you. So if you choose, I want a short term rental recommendation, it will give you what minimum stay works best if your listing is a short term rental. If you choose a midterm rental recommendation, it will show you for every month in the year, it will show you what minimum stay recommendation works best. So that's the one thing that you can do if you switch between STRs and MTRs. Use the seasonal profiles to make sure your minimum stays are aligned with when you want your listing to be STR and when you want it to be an MTR. And second is again the base price, and again that's where the seasonal profile comes in again. Your base and minimum will change for short-term and mid-term rentals because when you're thinking of mid-term rentals, it's the you don't want prices to fluctuate a lot. It's more stable. So we have something called seasonality factor or
Mhm.
demand factor wherein you can control these fluctuations. If you don't want your rates to wildly fluctuate like they do for STRs, you can tone down those fluctuations and you can make sure your minimums and base are different in the same seasonal profile for your MTRs versus what they are for your STRs. So these seasonal profiles really help you choose between different months of the year and what you want your rental to work as.
Okay. So just to clarify, the
Mhm.
system PriceLabs, it doesn't automatically switch from midterm to short term. I need to specify. Uh,
Yes, because
of,
unless you specify your minimum stay, there's no way for the algorithm to. The way the algorithm works is it
Mhm.
basically looks at the seasonality, the demand, the occupancy in your area. but we do need some sort of input from your end, which is your base price and your minimum stays and your minimum price, to anchor these adjustments.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, like, if I enter my property, how do you know to compare to other properties in the area? It's based on how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, uh, and then what happens if there is not such a property in my area, for example?
Right. So you can actually see what properties are we comparing your property with. And yes, obviously, we look at the number of bedrooms and compare your properties with plus minus one number of bedrooms and stuff like that. But a lot of overarching factors like seasonality or demand, they are very broad trends.
Mm.
So, irrespective of the number of bedrooms that you have or the kind of property that you have. So, for example, seasonality, it's very location specific. The high season and low season are broader trends. The demand or events, for example, 4th of July or events like those, they're broader trends. So, these broader trends are captured from the 350 closest listings to where your listing is at, and then to fine tune these settings or to fine tune your base price, minimum price, that's exactly where your input comes in. That's exactly why we want you to set your base price. Like you
Hmm.
rightly said, what if there's no other property like your property in the area? That's when you know that, hey, my property is super high end or luxury property, and I think I if I set a higher base price, it justifies the value of my property. And that's how the algorithm will then anchor all your prices. You have set a higher base price. Now the seasonality will apply on top of this base price, the demand will apply on top of this base price, and your prices will basically be calculated based on this foundational base price that you've told us. So it's a combination of your input and what the algorithm does, because you know your property the best, you know the quality of your property the best.
Understood. Okay. Thank you. Data is the key to smart pricing. How can midterm rental owners utilize PriceLabs market dashboard to make more informed decisions?
Right. And circling back to your questions on what
Mhm.
like what are the kind of properties that you compare with, this is exactly where the power of market dashboards come in. You can create a market dashboard for your area. You can look at dashboards for up to 1,000 listings or 5,000 listings and really dive deep into the trends and what's happening in your area. I can quickly share my screen and
Okay.
show you a snippet of what this looks like. Let me know if you're able to see my screen.
It's loading. And yes, we can see your screen now.
Yeah. So if you go to market research here and if you go to market dashboards at the top, here's where you'll see all the dashboards. I will click on show dashboard. This is a dashboard that I've made um for a location in Australia.
Mhm.
The most important benefit of this dashboard is the fact that you can choose your own comp set. And this is especially important for midterm rentals because what you can do is find similar properties in your area. So if I scroll down, so if you see all these small little dots, these are all the listings that are included in this dashboard. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, what I can do is if I want to filter, especially for midterm rentals, let's say I want to filter all the listings that have a stay of more than 28 days. So, all the listings who have a minimum stay of more than 28 days are now
Mhm.
what you see in this table. What you can do is select all of these listings and create your own comp set. And once you create your own comp set, all these KPIs that you see will
Mhm.
then be calibrated to the comp set that you've selected. You can see the estimated revenue, the number of available listings, how many bookings came in, what's the booking window for the comp set that you've selected, what's the occupancy percent for the comp set that you've selected. So basically, you can see all these KPIs for the specific set of listings that you want to look at. So right now, I've only added one filter, that is minimum stay, correct, for all the listings that
Mhm.
have a minimum stay of more than 28 nights. But if you want to add more filters, let's say your listing has really high reviews, of you have like a 4.9 rating, and if you only want to see listings that compare specifically with your
The
listing and
same
higher.
rate. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Or if you want to filter by, obviously, by number of bedrooms, you can select that if I have a 4 bedroom listing, I only want to compare with 4 and 5 bedroom listings in my area. You can choose the number of bedrooms as well. So you can actually create your own custom comp set to compare to who you think are your closest competitors, and see the summary of everything that's happening for that comp set. You can also see the length of stay and booking window trends
Mhm.
that are very important to understand how far in advance are bookings coming in for listings in my comp set. If I know that bookings are generally coming, let's say 60 days in advance, then you might want to calibrate your pricing in the same way that, hey, my booking window for this market is around 60 to 70 days. Outside of 70 days, maybe I can charge a premium or increase my minimum stays. Inside of 60 days is where the bookings slow down, so I can probably add some discounts to get more bookings if I'm not booked yet. So these data charts, graphs that you see on the screen right now, you can completely calibrate it to the concept that you want to look at. And if you're someone who does not like looking at data, or who does not like looking at charts as much, you can also see all the trends that are summarized in words here as well.
Mm. And is this tool available to me even if I don't have membership with PriceLab, or I need to be a member to access it?
So market dashboard is a
Yes.
separate product than dynamic pricing. So even if you're not using PriceLabs dynamic pricing and you only want to use market dashboards, you can do that. You can start an account, a free trial with PriceLabs, and create a market dashboard. It has various cost levels depending on how many listings you choose to add in your dashboard. So for 1,000 dashboards, for 1,000 listings, it's around $9.99 per dashboard per month. And if you increase to 5,000 and then 10,000, the cost changes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's focus a little bit more on market dashboard or market research, right? Let's
Hmm.
say I don't have a property yet. I'm
Hmm.
just thinking on specific zip code or specific area.
Right.
Can I utilize this market research tool to tell me in this area this is the best property to have?
Uh,
Whatever best I might have, right? Maybe I want, like you said, different revenue coming in, but rather than buying 1 bedroom condominium, I should look and buy 3 bedroom, 2 bath house, for example.
Yeah, you can definitely compare how each of these segments are doing. So, for example, if I change the filter to 1 bedroom here, and if I again look at only midterm 1 bedroom rentals, you can see what the average revenue of these rentals is, what are the number of listings, like what's the supply in the market, what is the general occupancy and booking window trends. And then again, you can change the filter to 2 bedroom and 3 bedroom and compare all these metrics to see what kind of properties work at what points in that area. Um, but to answer your question, if
Mhm.
you have a particular property in mind and if you want to see whether or not it will do well or not, we have another product called Revenue Estimator Pro, where if you just enter the address or the zip code of that property, you will see the estimated rental revenue and again the projections for that particular property if you have in mind. But if you don't have any property in mind and just want to research that particular market, then
Mhm.
market dashboards is the best tool that you can
Understood.
use. Yeah.
Okay, this is what I was looking for. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Let's move on to another question. Competitive intelligence is critical for any rental strategy. What specific types of competitor insight and data can host gain about the market through PriceLabs?
Right. The most important being pricing and occupancy data of
Mm,
where you are at and where your competitors are at. If your competitors are filling up too fast and you're not, you might want to see if you're overpriced, or if there's a problem with your visibility, or if there's a problem with your distribution. So very important to see if the overall market is slow, or if it's just your listing that is slow, or if the competitor, or even like the other way around, the competitors are not booking as fast as you are and you have like 90% occupancy whereas the market is only at 50%, then there's a chance that you might be leaving money on the table and you have room to increase your prices perhaps. So pricing and occupancy comparisons with competitors are a good way to draw insight into where your listing is at and what needs to be done to improve. The next most important comparison that you can do is obviously the policies and fees. So if you scroll all the way down, you can see what kind of weekly and monthly discounts are prominent in your market, and at what point are listings getting the maximum number of bookings. Even in terms of cancellation policies, what is the general trend for cancellation policies? Are strict cancellation policies working well, or moderate or firm cancellation policies the way to go in your market?
Mhm.
And what percentage of listings are getting bookings at what cancellation policy levels is also very important to look at. So all the policies and fees that your competitors are using and which of them are getting better bookings versus where you're at is a very good indicator of what you can change and what you can do better.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
This is so much data. It's if I am not data-driven person, is there any help from PriceLabs that can guide me and help me speaking with a person? Do I have my account manager or something like that?
So we have, so everywhere when you see this data, you'll see this little eye icon, you'll see
Hmm.
these little question marks, and even at the left, you'll see these quick links. So
Hmm.
we have a very elaborate help article base. So every graph that you see here has a detailed explanation in our help base. One, two, we run weekly and monthly trainings to understand all our products, dynamic pricing, market dashboard. So if you join those trainings, we have someone from our team live who is on there to answer your questions. We have 24/7, 7 days a week support, and our support
Hmm.
typically replies within 3 hours. So that's there. So most of the queries are solved by them. But even after all of this, if you still have questions and you want to get on a call and you just need that help to understand something, we're always happy to do that. So
Okay.
you have all the support that you need. Yeah.
I think you also have a podcast. I just recently
Yes.
discovered that.
Yes.
Yes.
It's called Rev Labs. Yes.
Yes, RevLabs. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to share, or should we move on to the next question?
Yeah, we can move on to the next question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So looking at the time, we're 30 minutes into the great conversation here. I don't see any comments. Somebody saying they're not able. Oh, they came late to the today's show. Can I share the recording? Sure. The recording will be available online on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
So I also will upload to YouTube later, so people can go ahead and watch this. You're
Uh,
still sharing your screen, right? You want to
yes.
share? You want to
Yes,
share? Okay, go ahead.
yeah, before you go ahead, because you mentioned that these are a lot of graphs and a lot of charts, we have something called AI Insights
Mhm.
in even neighborhood data if you use dynamic pricing and market dashboards. What this does is it summarizes all the graphs and charts that you see into simple, understandable words. So when I clicked on AI Insights here, what it did is, let's say if I look at these numbers and I don't know what to make out of them, you can click on AI Insights and you can see all these graphs translated into simple words that you can read and understand what these numbers are trying to tell you.
Perfect. This
Yeah.
is what I needed. Yes. Do you have a different languages? Like,
Yes, yes. If like right now I've chosen English, but if you go to other languages, you can choose.
okay, cool. Finally, thank you.
Yeah,
Um, Tricky question. Let me just put it back so we can see each other. Okay.
yeah.
It says Price Labs. What other labs do you have?
Wow. Price Lab sounds really lonely. Price
Ah,
Labs, because like you just said, data, graphs, charts, it's a bunch of things that we are doing together as a team. So a lab is definitely not enough. We have a bunch of labs to make sure that you're getting the best possible rate for your listing.
I got you. Okay, thank you. That's it for me, unless you have anything else you would like to add. I do want to ask you maybe one final question,
Mhm.
maybe two more. If people want to learn more about your product, where they should go? And number two, do you have any promotions for our team members or Facebook group?
Right. On number two, Shrija can reach out to you with a coupon code that you can later share on with everybody in your group. So that coupon code, I'll make sure Shrija shares with you. And on number one, if you want to learn more about our product, the best way to learn a product is to try it hands on. It's very, very simple. We have a 30-day free trial. Just go to hello.pricelabs.co, sign up for your free trial. If nothing, you can just not subscribe, but to best understand how Price Labs helps you is to use it and to see how your rates and your revenue increases after you use Price Labs. And to be able to understand the product even better, we conduct trainings every single day. So just go on to our trainings page. I will share the links with you after
Mhm.
this, and you can share it with everybody in your group. We have trainings every day. We have where we have a live, real person from our team there to help you understand and answer any questions that you have. So you can always attend any of these training sessions to understand more.
To understand more. Okay, I did put the link to my affiliate link, if you will.
Mhm.
Please, if you want to support me in this group, feel free to click the link and subscribe. It's no additional cost to you, but it does have some benefit to me. I appreciate if you can support. Other than that, if no further questions and I don't see anything online, I would like to thank you for your time today. I appreciate you coming and educating us about Price Labs, and looking forward to see you maybe in next MTR Summit. Who knows?
Yeah, it was great being here, and thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Thank you, Karishma.